Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive, fundamental shift happening right now in modern healthcare. We're moving away from the era of the lone, heroic doctor making these brilliant guesses and stepping into an age of perfectly reliable, automated systems. And as you're going to see, the tech driving this shift is so advanced, it's literally raising patients from the dead. But it really begs the question, what happens to the human connection when medicine becomes this flawless machine? Let's get into it.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at man versus machine. Then, the data disconnect. Third, rethinking the heart. And finally, we'll wrap up with the gratitude gap.
All right, starting with part one, man versus machine, the diagnostic duel.
So picture a hospital morning report where a renowned doctor is going head-to-head against a tiny computer chip. It's a real David and Goliath situation. In one corner, weighing in at about 4 pounds of human brain, we have Dr. Fisher. He's an elite diagnostician with an absolutely heroic memory. And in the other corner, weighing less than an ounce, is Isabel. Isabel is a diagnostic software system built on 100,000 hours of clinician design. It works 24/7, costs just a fraction of an attending salary, and is completely emotionless. When they were tested on a complex case at the exact same time, they essentially tied. But this sets up a pretty profound question about what medical excellence actually looks like today.
And that brings us to this core argument from Dr. Donald Berwick. He says, genius diagnosticians make great stories, but they don't make great healthcare. The idea is to make accuracy reliable, not heroic. Think about it like this. When you board a commercial flight, you really don't want a heroic, dramatic pilot relying on their gut instinct to save you in a storm, right? No way. You want calm, dependable reliability. You want airplane pilot-style safety protocols. We need systems that automatically catch errors because human memory, no matter how heroic it might seem, is ultimately fallible. And honestly, that fallibility isn't even the doctor's fault. It's just a massive numbers game. The sheer amount of data you need to practice good medicine today is way beyond the capacity of the average human brain to just perfectly recall. 20 years ago, an Eastern European Jewish woman might only need to be tested for a single genetic disease, Tay-Sachs. Today, that number's up to 15. There are over 6,000 drugs in the U.S. pharmacopoeia alone. You combine all that with a constant, never-ending stream of new evidence-based studies, and relying on individual human memory is pretty much going the way of the rotary phone. Which naturally begs the question, how on earth is all this data actually being managed?
Well, that brings us to section 2, the data disconnect, information in crisis.
Just think about the total absurdity of our current setup. Journalist Gordon Krovitz pointed this out, and it hits the nail on the head. Your credit card chip lets you access your entire financial history instantly anywhere in the world. The financial industry is easily 15 to 20 years ahead of healthcare in this regard. Meanwhile, across just 44 hospitals in New York City, your medical records basically don't exist outside of the one specific building you went to. If you show up unconscious at a hospital right across the street from your usual one, they have absolutely zero way of knowing if you're allergic to a medication they're about to give you. It's wild.
But there is a solution being built to fix this, and it's called NYCLX, the New York Clinical Information Exchange. It's this federated data sharing model connecting 14 hospitals. Here's how it works. When a patient opts in, an ER doctor can just send a query across these 14 hospitals and seamlessly, instantly retrieve life-saving lab data, EKGs, and critical history. The doctors implementing this, they don't just see it as a neat IT upgrade. One of them actually likened it to Columbus crossing the Atlantic in 1492, or laying down the first transatlantic cable. It's a massive, revolutionary leap in making medical info reliable and accessible.
Moving on to section 3, rethinking the heart and engineering some literal miracles.
So, this whole shift toward engineered systems, it's not just about software. It deeply applies to physical treatments too. Take atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat that can cause blood clots and strokes. From the 1960s way into the 1990s, medicine stubbornly tried to just drug or shock this irregular rhythm into submission. Doctors spent 30 years doing this, totally failing to realize that their interventions weren't actually working. Studies eventually showed all those efforts had an abysmal 7% success rate in changing the ultimate outcome. It was a huge professional failure, but by studying that failure honestly, cardiology actually evolved into a brand new era of targeted electrophysiology.
Which leads us to this absolutely crucial procedure called ablation. When doctors work on a heart today, they don't just blindly shock it anymore. They act way more like master electricians. Using a catheter inserted without even cracking the chest open, they find the exact electrical source of the arrhythmia and they ablate it. Now, the medical world doesn't really like to use crass words like kill, so they say ablate. But what that really means is using radiofrequency electrical waves to literally fry and neutralize that problematic, damaged heart tissue, completely stopping those bad signals from spreading.
And alongside ablation, we now have these truly remarkable devices like implantable defibrillators. For patients with dangerous rhythms like ventricular tachycardia, these devices just sit right inside the chest, constantly monitoring the heart. If it stops, bam, they deliver a massive internal shock to restart it. It's incredibly life-saving, for sure, but it is brutal. One patient, Ansley Harris, actually received 12 legitimate life-saving shocks during a storm of cardiac events. When someone asked him what it felt like, he didn't say it was like a punch. He said, "It is like being executed. It is like you are in the electric chair."
Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, the gratitude gap, miracles and numbness.
As you can imagine, this extreme life-and-death technology creates profoundly intense emotional experiences for the patients whose lives are saved. Take Daryl Kemp. Here's a 50-year-old father who literally couldn't walk 2 blocks without losing his breath because of severe heart failure. He was staring down either a heart transplant or sudden death. Then his doctor, who he calls Dr. Bud, implanted a biventricular pacemaker that resynchronized his heart. Now, it's not a permanent cure, but it bought him precious time. As Daryl put it, "I am just grateful to God and to Dr. Bud for giving me 5 more years of feeling good and to watch my daughter grow up." I mean, that is just a staggering level of gratitude.
Or let's look at Ansley Harris again. Before he had his device implanted, his heart literally stopped in the middle of the night. He collapsed on the way to the bathroom and died before being revived. After his doctor successfully ablated his heart tissue to stop those agonizing shocks, Ansley, who's a deeply religious man, told an interviewer, "I was like Lazarus raised from the dead." You know who that makes Dr. Bud, don't you? He literally views his electrophysiologist as a divine miracle worker.
But here's the crazy paradox in all of this. Despite performing these literal miracles every single day, doctors often seem entirely numb to this immense gratitude. Time and time again, patients will express this deep, overwhelming appreciation, and the physicians? They rarely seem to feel it or absorb it. They'll just give it a quick 2 lines in a medical chart, shrug, and move on. It's like there's this emotional hole right in the heart of the medical profession. And you know, it's not a lack of compassion. It's more like a tragic inability to just accept the profound thanks that their life's work is generating. And honestly, this is a massive missed opportunity. If dissatisfied, burnt-out physicians could just truly feel and accept this profound appreciation, they might feel so much more fulfilled by their calling. But even more importantly, absorbing that gratitude could be the ultimate fuel for the entire medical profession. Think about it. The energy you'd get from realizing you've literally given a father 5 more years to watch his daughter grow up. That might be the exact inspiration our brightest minds need to go back to the lab and drive the next wave of stem cell research or invent the next miraculous implantable device.
Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder today. In our vital quest to move away from individual heroics and make medicine this flawless, automated, data-driven system, a system using algorithms, microchips, and robotic precision to quite literally raise the dead, what is the cost to the human connection? As our medical tools become infinitely more advanced, how do we ensure the human beings running these incredibly complex systems don't lose their own hearts in the process? It's a question we all absolutely need to be asking as we step into the future of healthcare.